Welcome to Roll and Review, where we talk about all things nerdy and awesome. I'm Jim, and today for our Roll and Review show, we have our special guest Peter, who plays with us on our Friday stream and has done a bunch of stuff with us for Star Trek.
Hey guys.
Wonderful. So, got tons of stuff today to go over, along with tons of stuff that'll be coming out the next few days. So, probably be doing this again next Monday, and hopefully a little more regular. That'd be awesome. So E3 is happening right now, so we got tons of game trailers that came out, tons of information, and it's been pretty intense. So let's just start at the top of our list with Wolfenstein 2. For the record, all of the trailers and stuff, or everything we talk about, is down in the description below. So Wolfenstein 2. Peter, got something to say about this game?
Well, I can't say that I've played the last one. I have tinkered around with it a little bit, but this trailer, first off, the graphics are pretty amazing. I mean, that usually is how E3 works, where they polish everything up before they show it. But we've got it looks like it could be an interesting story where the Americans are rising up against the Nazis. To be fair, I do actually like all these parallel universe sorts of things. They're kind of fun. But it looks like it's going to be a lot like the previous one, a lot of running around shooting things. There's going to be a couple extra mechanics, as far as I can tell. Some extra armor and special tech sort of stuff. But other than that, it's going to be your classic Wolfenstein. Let's go shoot Nazis and robo-dogs and stuff. Same as it's been since the inception of the first one. So...
yeah, I mean, when I saw it, I like the Wolfenstein game. The first one, it's a fun game, fun shooter. And, I watched it and went, oh, let's add a few new things. But generally, it just looks like another Wolfenstein game. Not much change to it, which I think will be good for them because the game was pretty good already. And obviously, every game has improvements that it can make. And
if they can get a solid story going, then they're all set.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, E3 trailers not going to show us tons of story or anything like that, which I'm totally fine with. Let the story be told during gameplay with us, not on a trailer. But yeah, if they have a decent story, I think it's gonna be a great game. I think it'll definitely be worth it. So wonderful. Man, we're gonna blow through these, I feel. So. The next one is Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Gosh.
This one looks interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot to say about it from like a mechanics and a gameplay viewpoint, other than it looks like it's a lot similar to the previous version, the first Shadow of Mordor. The thing that interests me is that how are they making the story work? Just as if you watch the trailer, like they're making another ring. They're putting a Bright Lord versus the Dark Lord. So it looks interesting. I'm curious to see how the story pans out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously the trailer looks great. I mean, the 4K trailer, it looks good. The first one was awesome, and honestly, they don't have to do much to make it better.
No,
improving just a few things, and especially with the orc lords, or I forgot what they were called, the chieftains, and all their underlings and officers. That was a great system, which I haven't really seen too many other, if any, really other games really doing something that intricate with it. And they're, bringing that back and improving things. Huge. You see some huge battle sets with invading a castle, and yeah, the story. I mean, we'll see what they do. I could not be completely in line with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Which, if it's not I'm okay with that. I know, like, there are always those people who are going to be, like, super pissed at, like, oh, it doesn't match with canon.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be slightly annoyed if it doesn't fit with everything, but, you know, video games that I've played set in Middle Earth usually have a hard time figuring that out. The only one that I played that seemed to figure it out fairly well was War in the North, because it didn't touch anything remotely close to where everything else was going on. So
yeah, I mean, anytime you're trying to do a movie or video game that's taking place around the very strictly explicit lore that is Lord of the Rings, you're bound to come off that pure canon every now and then. I mean, even The Hobbit had a bunch of problems with, like, canon when it came to, like, how the story was told in the book as compared to the 3 movies. So, you know, whenever there's an interpretation and you're trying to put story in there, especially player-controlled story, like in video games, you have to leave plenty of room for canon discrepancies if you're dealing with, you know, roughly the same time period as very structured canon.
Especially if you want to put it anywhere near places that you see. It's like you can get away with if, like, you put it way off in Angmar like they did with War in the North. You can do whatever you want. But if you're putting it like this one is in Mordor, in Osgiliath, before the War of the Ring. So
yeah,
you're going to have a lot of stuff floating around. But.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's the same kind of thing if Star Wars doesn't, like, has its story and sets it in, like, prequel or original trilogy or new trilogy or, like, wherever in the storyline it places its story, and it doesn't exactly follow or show something that you never heard of before, and you're like, well, does it really make sense with all that's going on over here? You know, it's bound to happen if you want to put something in those types of environments. So,
suffice to say, interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still super excited for that game. I loved Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
And the system that they came up with, where while it wasn't super expansive and totally infinite with, you know, if you hurt one of the captains but he escapes or something like that, he'll remember what you did. Obviously, there's an infinite amount of possibilities on what could happen, and trying to program that into video games is basically impossible, which is why games like D&D and stuff can never really be totally recreated in video game form, because human imagination can never keep up with, or can always extend past the programming possibilities. You know, if they expand it more and they do more in that area of the game, it's going to be leaps and bounds better, and it was already great. So I'm just excited.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I'm skipping ahead on I already brought up Star Wars, so let's just talk about Battlefront.
Yes.
So that we don't tease our people. And so Battlefront 2 coming out.
It looks really good.
It does.
One of the things that makes me really happy is this is the first step that I've seen of new iteration Lucasfilm embracing the prequel era.
Mm-hmm.
Like, regardless of what you feel about it, it's really cool to see clones and battle droids duking it out and being able to play as both sides.
Absolutely. And when it comes to, like, Battlefront 2, I was disappointed in Battlefront 1 because it didn't have that even base story of just like, hey, let's play through what you know from the movies, like 1 and 2 did of the original iteration of the games. But kind of that they've announced, like, yes, we're actually doing this. They're not going to cut it out just to meet a deadline to make sure it's released around a movie. You know, the graphics look amazing, and like you said, the embrace of both prequel with new and basically the entire gambit of LucasArts at this point canon. Where, I mean, while we only have one trailer down on the description below, there are so many gameplay trailers of just Maul or specific like army, or I saw one earlier that was Maul and Rey fighting. And now I'm so happy Maul's in the game. He's actually one of my favorite people, and I've recently been reading the Darth Maul comic book, which takes place before Episode 1, and it is so good. So if anyone out there is looking for a story to pick up, that Darth Maul book. But anyway, that's a whole different issue. Those are comics, which we're not really talking about today. So yeah, Battlefront 2. I can't wait for this game to come out. I'm nervous, and I'll say this: I am nervous that they could still mess it up.
Well, yeah, we've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's really, I hope that they flesh out well is the single player story, because we got just a bit of a tease of it at the end of the trailer. Because they, of course, at least the one that we linked to in the bottom, is they showed all of the prequel battling and some of the lightsaber duels, but in the end you see the beginning of the story. You're following an Imperial pilot who survives the Battle of Endor, or special forces or something like that, and we finally get to see something of what the current canon vision of what happened after the Battle of Endor is. Of course, there's a few books that talk about it a little bit, but to visually see it, this is the first time that we'll see something of how the Empire crumbles after the Emperor dies.
Yeah, and I really like the idea of following a stormtrooper. Yeah,
it makes it unique.
Because with all these games, we always followed, for the most part, who we perceived to be the heroes. In the main storyline, of course, with like Galactic Conquest and Instant Action, you could always do the other side and play it how you want. But the story mode itself being what we know of as the villains of the Star Wars universe, and they're the ones we're following, and they're kind of our heroes for the game, our protagonists. I'm actually pretty excited to see that change in storytelling, see the other side, because kind of what we're seeing, kind of what we've seen now from the newest trilogy of Star Wars, with Finn having been a stormtrooper and breaking the brainwashing. Like, those stormtroopers are not just mindless enemies; like, they are people underneath the armor.
Yeah, and we've seen a couple fan films that have explored that too. So
yeah. There's
kind of been an awakening of understanding that there are people under these helmets, that the Empire is not just mindless people. Yeah, I know. I had to go there.
Yeah, Peter. You just had to go with awakening. Of course you did, because you're Peter and you are one funny bastard.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we agree. We're excited for it. I recall your opinion on that. So moving on, because we don't want to spend forever on that. So the next thing we're going to talk about, some DLC for Battlefield 1 SAR, or SAR. There's a T in it, so whatever. It's the damn Russians. It's expansion. The Ruffin. Peter, you take it away because I can't talk.
No problem, Jim. So the Battlefield 1 is having a expansion about the uprising after World War I with the communists taking over Russia. So basically it's just normal Battlefield play, but set, of course, in Russia during the revolution. Looks really interesting, I think. Of course, you're getting new weapons and new units, new enemies, and all of that. They got tanks running over stuff in the trailer, which I thought was funny. But I'm curious to see how it works, because the trailer doesn't show you a lot about what the mechanics of the story mode are at all. But it looks like you're playing as the Imperial forces for the most part, but you have the option of playing as the revolutionaries. So
yeah, I mean, well, if they do the DLC story like they did the rest of the story in the game, then we're gonna see from both sides. As we can recall, the story mode just for the base game has you follow a particular soldier throughout a particular battle or experience, or like their way through, or like a unit. And so if they do the story like they did the original, we're probably going to have, you know, the pro-communists, the the rebels, the government Imperial side, probably a couple. I hope more than just like 2 little stories like they had for the base game. I hope it's like 3 or 4. Give a decent amount of single player game for this DLC, which I would like since they're going to charge us for it.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't free DLC, so I hope.
Yeah,
I hope there's plenty of story along with all those expanded weapons and everything. I've really enjoyed Battlefield 1. I think it's generally a really good game. Obviously, there are some things from just I get really pissed at, like a group of snipers up on a ridge who are just being jerks. Sorry, my mistake. Got angry. But if it expands the game, gives us a decent amount of first single player story, along with new online fields, armies, equipment, vehicles, I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's that. So the very next thing, interesting looking game, Anthem. Now, I hadn't really heard about this pre-E3 this year, so
there hasn't been a whole lot of rumbles about it until now.
Yeah, it's a interesting looking game.
It's another one of BioWare's excursions. So
yeah. So BioWare, and from what it looked like in the trailer that we have linked below, I was sitting there thinking, like, so is this like Mass Effect / Destiny / Horizon Zero Dawn? Because at one point you do see some sort of like big robot that explodes and falls over.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a big thing, like Horizon Zero Dawn, or is that just like the only thing in there?
I mean, you're running around in mech suits, which honestly, these remind me of the book Starship Troopers, not the film.
Right, yeah.
Where you got this giant suit, and it's apparently got a massive amount of customizable options, which is something that BioWare is known for.
Yeah.
And it looks like the main mission is at least co-op. It might be one of those games where you have to do multiplayer the whole time, that I didn't quite pick up on.
It seemed semi like at least in game a little bit like how Destiny worked, where you could play it alone, or your friends can jump in and help you.
Yeah, but it's better if you have like a 4 squad.
Yeah, I like it, and it worries me because I've had jerk friends, not Peter or Alex, just making it clear so when Alex watches this later, he's like, "I'm not a jerk." I've had some jerk friends who were like, "Oh yeah, I'll play with you," and then we play the same thing over and over again. So like, well, my other character needs this, my other character needs it, my other character needs it. I'm just like, I just want to run Crota. Sorry, Destiny anger here. I've had those friends who are like, "Oh, play with you when you get good." Like, oh, shut up.
Yeah. But
it was me a little bit like that, because I really like games that have a single player option for when your friends are not being cooperative. But it looks really cool. The pre-alpha 4K footage that they had looked really decent.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I don't know. Hopefully we don't get a Mass Effect Andromeda on us afterwards where it's like, oh, the trailer looks so amazing, and then you sit down to play the game, you're like, these graphics are mildly distracting. I mean, to be fair, Mass Effect Andromeda, I have played it all the way through. It's not a bad game.
Fair.
But the graphics were a bit rough on release, so hopefully we don't have that happen.
Yeah, well, this is a game we're just gonna have to watch in the future, because when we're seeing a pre-alpha 4K footage, there's still a long way for this game to go, and so I'm not banking on this being, exactly what the game's gonna look like, or hoping that it's going to stay the same or get better. I mean, it looked fantastic, but it was definitely pre-render footage and not gameplay. So when gameplay starts happening, we'll see what it actually looks like.
Yeah, but it looks promising for right now.
It does. It looks promising, and I can't really fault it on anything at the moment.
No,
there's those concerns.
Wait till we hear more.
Yeah, we just know what BioWare's done before with graphics and stuff, and
their stories are great, so we'll see.
Yeah. Now, the very next thing to talk about, one of my favorite game series, thanks to a wonderful guy who I'm going to shout out right now, Ian over at GameStop in Illinois. If you ever watch this, hi, you're awesome. Turn me on to this game series, Far Cry 5. I love it.
I have unfortunately not played it, but I can see the appeal.
So, I mean, as you guys, I'm sure, are aware, Far Cry series has probably some of, honestly, the best villains in video games. I know we use it as an example on good story and good villains when we talked about like The Division in our review there. It's a great game series, and I love the fact that it's kind of coming home now. We've been to, in 3 in Tropical Islands, 4 in India. I can't seem to remember 1 or 2 off the top of my head, so I apologize for that. But now we'll come back to America, and looks like a crazy cult leader, and like cult took over a town. I'm excited to play this.
Yeah, it looks like like I said, I haven't played any of the Far Cry games before this, but this looks interesting. Like, there's a whole lot of weird story going on that could be, like you said, they have good villains, so this one looks like he's definitely crazy. So
yeah. I'm just excited because I'm really, really hoping, if any of you know me, terrified of snakes, not tons of poisonous snakes in America, especially in the area that they're kind of showing. So hopefully those snakes will jump out and scare the crap out of me. Because that definitely happened.
Just for you, there will be a few snakes.
I like in Far Cry 4, I heard the snake first time, and I was like, oh no, I was looking around, couldn't find it. I just started shooting randomly, and it came out, bit me, scared the crap out of me. And anytime I heard a snake, I just like run and start grenading. So I'm like, nope, I'm gonna die. Nope, not dealing with this shit.
We need to get you a fedora and a whip, because every time this is gonna come up, you're just like, why does it have to be snakes?
Exactly. I'm biased to Far Cry. I love the game. It's one of my favorite game series. This one does not look to disappoint. I know there was like this trolling kind of movement, definitely a trolling movement that, put out a petition to change the main villain of the game away from this white guy in America because it could inflame race relations even more or whatever. It was hilarious that the news actually reported it. I mean, come on. If anyone actually believed that was a real thing, like, I'm so sorry.
You're a sad, strange little man.
You're sad, strange little man. But I love this game. I can't wait for it. The next one, very different from what we've been talking about. We're very actiony games. Last day of June.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure what this game is going to be like, just from the teaser trailer that we saw.
It was one of those games that I watched a trailer of. Take a departure from what I normally try to play. See what else is coming out. I honestly can't figure out what this one's about. It looks like it's some sort of like puzzle solution sort of thing where you're running around and trying to figure out what happened, and then maybe change something, and then time will right itself or something. But outside of that, no idea. The graphic style is very simple, but that's what I've seen with a lot of games of this type.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the trailer, and they don't. I mean, it is literally a teaser, and it has done its job. I am legitimately interested in finding out more and more about this game, and yes, the graphics are cartoony. Sometimes that's called for in games. You don't necessarily need 4K graphics that make you question if it's a real person or not, because that gets a little creepy. So that's a whole different topic to talk about. But so I'm guessing it's going to be a story-driven game, which will be great. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what comes out more about it. There are a couple games with the similar graphic quality that's very cartoony that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And so,
this one looks like it could get pretty dark, though.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, the guy's sitting there in a wheelchair or something, and you see a ghost version of him and what I assume would be his wife. I don't know if they're just going to make us cry like the first 5 minutes of Up. Maybe that's the game. Maybe the game is all about that.
I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. So we'll just have to wait and see. It definitely makes me want to know what on planet Earth is going on.
No, absolutely. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So one of the more mysterious games where we don't actually know what the game is like, because so many games are action and fighting, and that definitely is not. So moving on from that, back to action, fighting, and stupid things. Rising Storm 2 Vietnam.
Yes.
All right.
This one I stumbled on, but...
So, Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. Now, in conversations with friends, like Matt Wires, who's also in our Friday game, me and him have been having long, hard discussion about where games should be going. Well, at least first-person shooter games. Since we know that the next Call of Duty is going to be going back to the roots of World War II. I have been against that because we have so many World War II games. I've been asking for Vietnam or Korea games that really go into those theaters.
We did finally get a World War I game with Battlefront.
We did, which was cool. But so this one's a Vietnam game, which was exactly where I want games to be going. However, I don't think I'm going to like this for a very similar reason why I don't like Battlefront 1 all that much. And not because it doesn't live up to the other Battlefront games or the other Rising games, but it is multiplayer only.
Yeah, that's the one downside.
I want them to give us... Yes, I understand those games are popular because, first-person shooter games are popular because of their online aspect. You don't... Call of Duty, no one plays for the story because it's a rehashed story from the last game they did. At Battlefront or Battlefield, you get some good story in some of the games. It's interesting. But for the most part, 90% of gameplay in those games is the multiplayer. So I get focus on multiplayer, but I want a game that if I'm just kind of screwing around, or my friends aren't online, I don't have someone to play with at the time, or my friends don't have the game. I want a game that I can play single player, especially to learn the game.
Yeah. Don't want to be the complete noob on the battlefield and get pwned by everybody.
Yeah, which I get now. Like the games, like all multiplayer games, do a really good job with matchmaking for skill level. So new players will be matched with other new players. You're not going to have a new player get matched with the best player in the gosh darn game, and you're just going to die when you spawn. I get that they do that now, but it still upsets me when there aren't single player, and I'm still looking for couch co-op games or local co-op games, as they're actually called. And that's the shortfall of this game.
Because it would be nice to have a co-op story mode where you kind of where it's like where you kind of have a Destiny availability where you can play it on your own, but have your friends join if you want. So that would be the best of both worlds.
Like a Borderlands type thing.
Right, yeah, Borderlands is more what I'm...
It's not mass multiplayer online where like anyone could just be around. But you have a good story. And if you want to play with your friends, you can play with your friends. And you have your little team. But at the same time, it doesn't negatively affect you. Like, it's not overpowered if you're playing alone.
Yeah. On the plus side for this game is it's one of the first that I've seen that's set in Vietnam, and it seems to get a lot of it right. Like, there's not a lot of stylization of like, oh, well, this is this because it looks cool. Like, no, that's like the uniforms that they wore without wearing the jackets and wearing the cutoffs and all these different things, and the helicopter warfare and the drops and all that sort of thing. Like, and the flamethrowers, like, it's all there. And like, as terrifying as all that is, like, props to them for putting it in there. Like, that's actually what happened.
Oh yeah, I mean, it looks exactly like it should as a Vietnam game. Which I'm excited about, and hopefully, if this is successful or gets good enough reviews that people are interested in a second one, that maybe they do what Battlefield has done and add in a single player, or it gets some other games who do single player to start looking at, like the Korean and Vietnam War, these wars that we don't have tons of games, especially not many AAA games.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like conflict, operation, whatever games, which were okay shooters, but they weren't the AAA titles that that we've come to expect now.
And even if it managed like it's a spin-off that's not exactly the same sort of thing, but is still set in that time period.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Oh, absolutely. So moving on, The Occupation. Now, I really haven't seen this, so Peter, how about you take it away?
Well, this was another one that I was just kind of perusing what was there. I mean, I wasn't live streaming the conferences, so I was just kind of poking around on YouTube afterwards. Just, what do we have going on? This one is I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it's kind of one where you're wandering around, picking up information. Like, it's kind of touted as like a whistleblower sort of game where you're putting information and you're bringing things down by doing so. I guess, I don't know if Watch Dogs is something similar, but I don't
not
think
quite.
so.
Watch Dogs is far more.
There's a lot more going on in that. Never mind, bad analogy. But it's definitely got you're sneaking around and you're stealing stuff. So it's like a spy game, I guess, but you're not a spy. You're a normal civilian who's just kind of wandering around and finding stuff under, like, think kind of a 1984 style government. So it looks like it could be interesting. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with it because, again, it's something that I don't normally play. But at least what I saw in the trailer, the sneaking around and finding information, if they can make it so that it's not like that's all you do and it's where you're just sneaking around all the time, it could be really interesting. Because some games like the survival horror sort of stuff, because this looks like it's kind of survival with some espionage thrown in.
Yeah.
Those can be really good. Like one game that I liked, like I don't play a lot of these sorts of things, but Alien Isolation was pretty good in that regard, where there's a lot of sneaking around and you could get killed at any freaking moment, but it was fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I just watched the trailer because I can do that. Yay, technology. So yeah, I mean, it's from what we see there, it is definitely this you know, like you said, even the trailer has it as a whistleblower / political game.
yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to. I have a feeling it's going to be more of that puzzle game, but with a little more like urgency and stealth required for it. So I mean, I think it looks good. So far from what we've seen, it's that, I mean, really, it's what this and Last Days of June are the reveals so far that aren't super actiony. And so having a game like this to kind of give us a break from blowing each other up or shooting people. Like, I know those games are popular. I like playing them too, but I also like, you know, puzzle games. I like those types of games. So it'll be interesting to see what that one looks like as we get closer to release for that.
Yeah. If it's got a great story, it'll be fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's all I ever ask, honestly. Just give us a good story. It doesn't have to be all explodey and blowy uppy and stuff or murdery. If it's a good story, I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter what kind of game it is. As long as if the story's great, I will probably enjoy it. Although, I mean, granted, there are probably some games that I would hate, even if the story's good. But
yes, the very next thing, our last video game, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlords.
yes.
So, I know I have been playing the crap out of the first Mountain Blade. I love the games.
They are fun.
So, I'm excited to see what this one does. This is by Telltale Entertainment, which is funny because it's not
what they normally do.
Or sorry, it's Tale World, not Telltale.
Okay,
sorry.
come on.
Because I was like, what the crap? This doesn't. No, it's sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. It's Tale World Entertainment, and unless I just never saw it, this one is on Xbox, PlayStation, and Microsoft Windows. And I don't remember Mountain Blade being on PlayStation, but I could be wrong with that.
I don't think it was.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Because, well, yes, you know, PC Master Race. I get it. Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. It was just computer. Oh, yes, I know. PC Master Race, something about doing games like that with controller is just really comfortable for me. Probably because I started my gaming experience with the PlayStation 1 and not computer games. That'll be interesting, but
yeah,
it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
since it's being released on multiple platforms this time, I wonder, they haven't said a whole lot, but I wonder if they're moving towards some of the cross-platform play. Because I know that there was a move with the previous Mountain Blades previous Mountain Blade and its various DLC of gaining some of that multiplayer compatibility. Because there was some where you could do like the minor skirmishes, and there were some mods that allowed you to do weird versions of the campaign.
Yeah.
I wonder if, at least with the multiplayer, we might be getting some of the cross-platform availability just because they're releasing it on all three, at least between Xbox and PC.
And PlayStation.
Or,
I mean, yeah, I mean, we really don't know with games that have done that fairly successfully. even with like PC, PlayStation, and some stuff there. I really hope it is cross-platform multiplayer. But this one, single player and multiplayer, which makes me happy, as I've already bitched about no single player already, like twice, because I just hate when it's not there. I hope they go beyond just the battles for the multiplayer. I hope they do a
co-op campaign more.
Co-op campaign, even though like the original Mountain Blade and Mountain Blade, like was it Fire and Steel, neither of them really had like a strict campaign.
No, it was kind of an open world sort of thing.
Yeah, it was open world. You could pledge your sword to whatever king you want, and you help them take over, and you rise to the ranks, get different areas of your own, and help people become the ruler of the entire area. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. If there is a story, again, we don't have much information about it.
No, it's just more or less a gameplay trailer.
Yeah, I hope multiplayer is open for that open world, not just battles. And one thing I really hope they improve for this game is in that open world, much more customization and kind of a clearer way to better your areas. I know in Mountain Blade, you get this. You generally start off with a town. I've taken over a castle or 2 or 3 or 4, which my king never lets me keep. But it's very not specific on how exactly to improve your area. You see different towns increasing in prosperity and lowering when they get raided, but it's not clear how you make your town without literally just spending all of your money buying everything from the town so that they have money, and then like trying to sell it back at somewhere else. So I hope that aspect of it, the town building aspect, is kind of a little more clear and more interactive with the player, not just like, well, you just show up and collect your rent, and they'll do what they do. So
one more game that we forgot to talk about.
One more thing that we forgot to talk about? Oh, no.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, gosh, yeah, Assassin's Creed. Gosh, how did we forget that? It's in the title of the video, Peter. How did we forget?
Because we're sad, strange little men. That's why.
We really are. That would have been clickbait as shit if we didn't talk about it.
And we would have been human roast.
We would be garbage people. Oh, wait, Peter, you already are.
No.
So, Assassin's Creed. The trailer, we've seen a trailer, just dropped 2 days ago? Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Gosh, the blurriness in days for me. We kind of, this kind of ties back in with what we talked about in like our last one review show, God knows when that was, about if a title can be salvaged, like if a name can be salvaged. We talked about things like Battlefront, No Man's Sky, Assassin's Creed as one particular example of game titles that potentially are.
That need to be salvaged.
You either need to be salvaged or just dropped.
Right.
As I said, maybe some titles just need to be dropped. But this Assassin's Creed trailer looks good. Gosh darn it.
It looks like it's a step in the right direction, that's for sure.
It looks like it's a step in the right direction, we all know Unity sucks, no need to go into that. Syndicate was good. I liked Syndicate. Not the greatest Assassin's Creed game ever. Not, mind-blowing game. But it was a good way for them to start clawing their way back in that title. And this this game looks like another step in that right direction.
Yeah.
We'll see what it's like as, again, with all of these things, E3, that everyone's putting their absolute best foot forward.
Yep.
While there tend to be blunders at E3 on many things, these trailers are literally the best they can make their games look. So as it comes closer to release date, we have to be conscious, keep our eyes open for these games to see how they change, see what is announced or discussed in interviews and press releases. But this definitely looks like a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, perfect. Now we're done with video games. So,
the end of E3. Huh? Well, it's not
end of
yet, but no.
It's not over, and next week we'll come back with even more stuff to talk about. But getting off E3. Oh my gosh, DC didn't screw it up.
Yay!
Wonder Woman.
They managed to make a good movie. Like, I mean, I didn't hate the previous ones that they've done. I didn't bother to see Suicide Squad because I heard enough from you. But
it's better than Batman v Superman. But we're not here to talk about that movie.
We're not talking about that. But
and of course, this isn't a full review of the movie. One of those may come out, maybe not, because our editors in Disney World screw him. And so we probably just might not make one because screw our editor, Alex, screw him. He's in Epcot today, so jerk.
But Wonder Woman's a great movie.
Yeah.
Like, I went into it going like, okay, this could be okay. I mean, our introduction to Wonder Woman in the new DC universe was in Batman versus Superman. It was kind of, I mean, she was interesting, but wasn't great. And then all of a sudden you get like this whole backstory and all that. And it's like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And again, as I usually say, it's set in World War I. Bold move. That doesn't happen very often.
No, but with that, like, they didn't try reinventing the wheel with Wonder Woman. It's exactly what I hoped a Wonder Woman movie would be.
Yeah.
Really. It was good. Gal Gadot. Yes, you do pronounce the T, apparently. And Jimmy Kimmel, she corrected kind of everyone, and he was saying it with the T. I've been saying it without, so whoops.
I just haven't been saying it because I didn't want to screw it up.
Fair enough. She was fantastic.
And Chris Pine actually did a good job, too.
Yeah, Chris Pine did a good job. I think they made a terrible mistake not signing the director for multiple movies.
Yeah.
She did a great job, and they only had her on contract for this movie. You can bet. I hope they come to her begging her to do more movies, and she makes them bend over and take it. And
like a second, like if she does a second Wonder Woman, or even directs, like if Justice League does well, directs the next Justice League movie.
Yeah, and I know they've been kind of looking towards these female directors to do other female superhero movies. Like I know Batgirl's been in talks and things like that. So maybe bring her on for those, which I'll say this. I don't think we need to relegate her to just doing female superhero movies.
That's why I said Justice League.
I know.
A good director is a good director.
Exactly. But you never know what DC is thinking, so I just wanted to put it out there that they might go that direction. I hope Wonder Woman 2, I don't think it's been announced, but I hope it exists. If it follows up and is just as good, if not better, than Wonder Woman, I hope they get her back to direct because she did a great job. Obviously, as all movies, there are issues with the movie. Like no movie is perfect. We're gushing about this right now, mainly because in comparison to other DC movies, it is the holy grail of movies when it comes to DC.
It was one of those, you walked into the theater like, oh man, this could be a complete train wreck, and you sit there like, wow, this was good. Like, it's not without its issues, but this was overall good.
Yeah, and if you look back to last summer, when we were talking about this when Suicide Squad and especially when Batman v Superman came out, I said this, that they wouldn't have time to fix what was wrong with Suicide Squad after Batman v Superman, and when it was pretty much universally disliked. I said they wouldn't have time to make a lot of corrections for Suicide Squad. It was going to be what it was going to be, and whatever direction Jeff Johns and John Berg wanted to take the DCEU once they were given control of it. Like those movies were pretty much set. But I said if they're going to make a change and they're going to turn it around, we're going to first see it in Wonder Woman and the rest of the movies that come out from here on out, because they will have had time to make the changes, to implement things that they want to implement, and kind of get it along the route that they want to make good films for DC, which we all want. I'm generally a Marvel fan, but I'm not ashamed to have Batman sitting here over my shoulder twice, or all of our favorite heroes there, like Wonder Woman right there. Because I love comics, I want comic book movies to do really well, and if this is a sign of what Jeff Johns and John Berg have been leading the DCEU in and trying to get their directors to go with, I'm hopeful for the coming movies. That doesn't mean I don't have my reservations because of what they've done to the DCEU movies in the past, but it's not the desolate black hole that was where we were about to, pass the event horizon into.
There's no escape once you reach the event horizon.
Exactly. Once you pass the event horizon, you basically have to destroy it all and
just go all the way through until it gets crushed into nothingness and restart in another dimension.
Exactly. But this was a great start to not recreating, but to directing the universe, the DC universe, in the direction that it really deserves to go in.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Justice League and all that, but this is a hopeful step in the right direction.
Absolutely. The other sad thing, I know it's weeks old. I just want to bring it up with talking about the direction of the DCEU. Joss Whedon is finishing the post-production of Justice League, so that's pretty exciting. I'm not excited for why he's doing it. We know what happened to Snyder's family, and that's sad. We never want something like that to happen, but Joss Whedon is taking over, and if he does, if he helps Justice League get to where he was leading Marvel to, it's going to be great.
Yeah, because Joss Whedon knows how to do that sort of thing. So
yeah, especially big ensemble.
Oh yeah, he's good at ensemble stuff.
So yeah, that's all we got for you today. So please join us next week, because we will be coming back next week to finish up with all that is going on with E3 after this point. If you like this, hit that like button down below. If you ever want to chat with us during these live streams, chat with us. At least I'm watching the chat. If you're watching this, if you're watching this after as a video, please comment down below your thoughts on any of these games. What games didn't we cover? And remember, if it comes out after this, we'll try to cover it next week. But what are you excited about from E3? What gets your blood going? How do you feel about the DCEU? If you want to see more videos like this or want to be notified when we go live, please hit that subscribe button down below and make sure to hit that little bell to make sure you get notifications. Anyway, thanks for coming, and we will see you next time.